free to talk and ask any questions. But basically, we should now be live on YouTube, and this will be recorded. So today I'm joined by wonderful people from the Digital Citizenship Institute, people who are passionate about digital citizenship, and some students as well. So I'm going to go ahead and give you an overview of Elementari, kind of take you through the different steps that you can take as a teacher and also as a student. So the first step as a teacher or a parent who you have like multiple kids and you want to get their accounts set up is you want to create a classroom, and that basically allows you to manage all of your student accounts. So from a parent standpoint or a teacher standpoint, you want to go and click on manage your classrooms. There's an icon here. Usually it's not as messy as me when you're a new user. It'll have a button that says create your first classroom, but you can also click on your avatar and click on classroom. And here you can go ahead and either create a class from scratch. So you just fill out the form. You can just choose like other and put like language arts or whatever and give it a class name, class description. And if you have younger students, I recommend that you set a password that's the same for all your students. So I recommend that you use this field for kids that are like grades K to 3, where they can't remember their passwords. So that's how you do it manually. And once you have your classroom set up, you can go ahead and create student accounts. There's no need for emails, so you can like go in, and I'm going to just show you, go into your classroom, and you can go to your classroom dashboard, and you'll also see your student online status, which is kind of nice. If you're full virtual, you can see who's actually logged in and who's actually working in real time. So that's kind of nice. And you go to your people tab, and here you could just make a username. So in your case, you can say like Ariel or Layla or whatever, and put a username or pink unicorn. The name is optional, the email is optional, and you just hit the create button and then it'll create it. So I could be like, I don't know, pink unicorn. And pink unicorn is available, so I can create a student called Pink Unicorn, and now Pink Unicorn can go in and create a story. So that's basically how you set it up to get students on board. You will need to create an assignment. So when you create an account for the first time and you're creating the classroom for the first time, you'll have like these little, at the top you'll see that there are this little red warning thing to make sure that you fill out the necessary details. But the assignment is just basically a way to guide your students. It can be as specific as you want, or it could be as open as you want. So oftentimes if you are like, you just want people to explore, you can create an assignment and just call it explore and have fun. It could be whatever. You can also use one of the existing curriculums and assign that to your classroom. You can have as many assignments as you want, but you do need an assignment for students to publish, because they'll go into your assignment and then they'll write their story there. So how the privacy works is students can write their stories and then they can hit submit. And what that means is that it'll send a notification to you as the teacher or the guardian, and you'll have to go and read their story and approve of it, essentially. So I'm going to go into my assignments. You can see your student work. So this one's not very good because these are just empty books. Let's see if I can find one that might have more stories. Let's see. What's a good assignment? Maybe this one? Yeah, here we go. So Premium allows you to have the analytics. You can see how long they spend writing, how long they spend coding, number of characters written, number of lines they've coded. So let's see, I want to go into here and I can go in and see their story. This is more if you're like full virtual, it's really helpful, because then you could go through and you can add feedback page by page. You can review the story and be like, okay, what's going on this page, and say stuff like, oh, you have to add a period, or you have to capitalize the first letter of your sentence. Those type of feedback that's very useful to have. And as a continuous process. So that's more of the writing process side of things. But the main thing is once you get the assignment set up, then you can get started with coding. So I'm going to go ahead and log out of my account, and I'm going to log in as a student so you can take a look at what that looks like, and we're going to code and write something together. So I'm going to go ahead and use my student account. This student account is part of a couple of different classrooms, but I'm going to just choose a random one. It doesn't really matter too much. And I'm going to just go ahead and click continue assignment, and I'm going to write a new story. So as a student then, if you want to remember what am I supposed to do, you can click activity and you have the assignment pop up, but really it's just have fun. So it looks a lot like PowerPoint or Google Slides. You can choose a background that you like. I don't know, any suggestions for backgrounds? Let's say forest. Let's find a forest background. I like this one. What do you think? This one looks pretty good. And you can add some images if you want. So I don't know, you can sort and find some animals. Maybe I want to find some animals. Let's see, what kind of animals are there? You got a flying pig. Yeah, we'll go with this. There we go. What are these called again? Flamingos? That's the right word. So I have been actually trying to learn French like intensively. So I feel like my English is now disappearing. So you can go in and say, hello, how are you doing? And just like with any Google Slide PowerPoint, you can have fun with the fonts and make it really customized and look nice. So you can add pages here on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and add different pages. You can add as many pages as you want. There's no limit. I do recommend that you make your pages shorter so that way you can have actual stuff on your pages rather than just adding 50 empty pages, which has happened in the past. So do write a story. So here we have the layout where you can design, you can add text, speech bubbles like we did, images that we did, backgrounds, and we'll take a look at the other ones at the bottom later. But the really cool part about Elementary is you can code. So how do we code? Well, we click on this button at the top called Event Graph, and it flips the page over to the back side where we can code. Okay, so any of you familiar with like maybe Scratch or code.org or maybe Tinker, those type of things? So it's a little bit different from that because we use something that's called node-based visual programming. So the blocks are a little bit different, as you can see. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually try a nice text effect. I like text effect. So on the side we have tabs, and the vocabulary here is all vocabulary that is used in computer science. So functions, variables, logic, even things like, oh, we have variable types and you can have Boolean variables. Those are all adhering to computer science vocabulary. So, but you don't have to learn about all that. What we want to do is we want to make our story kind of fun. So if you want, and if I'm going too fast, you can go through a lot of the tutorials on your own. There's a tutorial thing here, and actually the first tutorial you'll see when you go on Elementary and you create an account is how to make this dragon fly. And we can actually do that a little bit later, but I'm going to just show you, let's add a title. My really awesome story. Okay, so my really awesome story. So what I want to do is when the page starts, I want to do something. So functions are our actions. They tell the computer what action to do. So we can play a text effect, we can fade, we can play music, we can play a recorded sound, we can move, blink, bounce. All these different things are all functions. So I'm going to use play text effect because I think that is the easiest way to make your story look really cool, really fast. So I'm going to play a text effect, and it's like a typewriter where the letters come in and animate. And I need now a text object. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my title, which is my really awesome story. So I'm going to ask you a question now, and you can unmute yourself and let me know what you think. But I have 3 blocks here. How do you think I could connect them together to make my code work? So let me give you a hint. I can drag these things around. So how do you think I can connect my blocks together? Any ideas? Uh-huh. What do I do with this triangle? I need to connect them together. How do I do that, you think? I have a triangle here on the orange block. Do you see another triangle? Okay, so we're going to try to connect the triangle to the triangle together. Okay, so now it's connected. And now you see I'm missing a little connection here. It's kind of lonely. So what do you think I do? Yep, connect it with the other purple dot. So the purple circle goes to the purple circle. So you can actually play around with the effect. You can drop down and select different speeds, but we're going to leave it at the default, which is a typewriter effect at medium speed. And I'm going to hit preview, and let's see the code run now. Did you see that? So what happened? Let's try again. You see the text here animate? Yep. Awesome. So that's one thing that we can do. We can animate our text. So let's actually animate some more. So it's kind of weird to have this speech bubble just hanging around here on the page while the title is coming in. It's a bit strange. So we're going to try to sequence it. We're going to try to put the animations in an order. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to do my text animation, which is what we already do. And then I want to fade in my speech bubble. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 things. So the first step is done, but let's try to figure out how to do the second step. Okay, so I'm going to use the fade function because I want to fade in my speech bubble. So I'm going to grab my speech bubble. So this one's a bit tricky. This one's really tricky. I'm giving you the crash course on coding. So usually we do this a little slower, but I think you guys can do it. So what do you think we do? So I have a triangle here now, right? Where do you think I can connect it? I have one triangle here and I have one triangle here. Do I put it in the first one or do I put it in the second one? The second one? Oh, awesome. So let's see if that works. And are we missing anything else? Do we have to do anything else? Ah, trick question. What do we have to do? All right, the purple dot to the purple dot. Very good. So by default, the effect is to fade in. And so that basically means that it's going to be invisible and then it's going to appear. So it's going to fade in. So let's, we can also give it a direction. And I like giving it a direction because I think it looks nicer. So let's put it fade into the left. And let's just try that out and hit preview. Pretty cool. So now we have my really awesome story and a nice little speech bubble. So that's the basics of how we can code, and we did a functions in sequence. So you can also then maybe add a voiceover. So maybe I want to say, hello, how are you doing? At the same time that the speech bubble comes in, I can do that. And in order to record a voiceover, so don't worry, there's a tutorial for how to play a recorded sound. You can go through that, and you can also watch the video later. But basically we go to the Sounds tab, and the Sounds tab here has music and sound effects. So you can add a background music to your story, and the background music will continue to play throughout all the slides until you change it or until you stop it. So you can have a lot of fun with background music, with making it kind of like a creepy sound, and then happy, and then sad, all sorts of things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the big orange button, Record Voiceover. And you'll see this lovely circle thing. I'm going to click on that, and I'll have a 3, 2, 1 countdown. Hello, how are you doing? And when I'm done, I just hit the button to stop, and you'll see now that I now have a sound graph. So I can go ahead and trim it. So there's a lot of empty sound at the beginning and empty sound at the end. I'm going to get rid of some of that by just dragging it like so. Something like that. I'm going to press save to trim it. I can preview the sound. Sounds okay. And I have to give it a name now. So I'm going to say, hello, how are you? Or I'm just going to say hello. And I'm going to save it. So you'll notice now that I have a 1 here, and that basically means I have a new sound on the page. So I can delete it if I want, but usually you don't want to delete it. Just keep it. It's better that way, because you can't get it back once you delete it. So I'm going to go to the event graph now, and I'm going to grab a function, and functions are our actions. So we want to play a recorded sound. So now this is the super tricky part. Where do I connect it? My play record sound. Okay. Where do you think I connect it? I have 1, 2, 3 places I can connect it to. You want to try the third one? Okay, let's try to connect it to the third triangle. And we have to make sure that we select a sound. Notice it says select a sound. I'm going to click on it. It'll have a drop down, and it'll say hello, because that's the only recorded sound I have on this page. If I record more, they'll be in the drop down. Okay, so let's check it out. Was that what we wanted? But my sound is coming in after my speech bubble fades in. Right? What if I want to have it happen at the same time? Okay, so process of elimination. It's probably not this one. This one happens after the fade. So I have 1 and 2 now. I have 2 choices, 1 or 2. 2, let's try 2. So I'm going to try preview. And now it happens at the same time. So this here is called functions in parallel. That basically means that we're doing 2 actions at the same time. And I like to put them on top of each other. And we're going to follow our arrows to see the flow of our code. So we're going to start on the orange block, which is our event. Events start everything. So we always need an event. And I'm going to follow my white triangles. So I'm going to go first here. Okay, I'm going to play a text effect first. That's my first step. And then now I branch out into 2 other functions. And I'm going to do these 2 things at the same time. So that's a little bit about how node-based visual programming works. Node-based visual programming is used in the real world. I don't know if you guys watched maybe Moana. Have you watched Moana? I haven't watched Moana personally yet, but I need to. So the water in Moana is created using computer graphic animation software. The specific one is called Houdini, and they actually have a node-based visual programming environment for their animators to create the water in Moana. Same thing with all the superhero movies. So all the ones with the super flashy effects, those are all done by software that also has a node-based visual programming environment. And if you like to play games, Unreal Engine and Unity both have visual programming included in their software. And those programs have created games like Fortnite, Kingdom Hearts 3, Rocket League, Final Fantasy 7. I think that's a little older for you guys, but there's a lot of games that they create. So it's pretty cool. So you can also now create your own games. So I think the last step is we covered like the basics of the animation. And I think that's a really good place where you could already get started with digital storytelling, especially if you want to talk about some of the pillars of digital citizenship. Maybe you want to write a story about how you can be alert or how you can be responsible online, or maybe do something that can teach younger students. So that can be really some really cool ideas. If you're really interested in the coding, then basically you will want to look at variables, because variables make your story into something really, really awesome. So there's one to get started with, which is how to use a text variable. And you can create a story where the user, like the reader, has to type in their name, and then their name is used throughout the story like a game. And we're going to look at an example of that since I think we're running-ish about out of time. But let's take a look. So basically variables are super awesome because they can do all sorts of really cool things, like having your name in a story, making it so that your choice maybe affects the dialogue. But you can also do that, like if you want to do a choose your own adventure, you can use the go to page block, this one right here, and you could do a lot of really cool stories just by using this block. You could create an app, you can create a choose your own adventure, and you could do really cool stuff. So I'm going to give you a look at some stuff that you can do. I don't know, maybe you've seen this already, but you have, for example, let's see. You have some escape rooms that are made. Where is it? I like this one. So things I've forgotten. This one's pretty cool. Did you read this one already? Yes? So yeah, this is made by a 6th grade girl. She's actually going to be my teaching assistant for my club, so you could come join in on Saturday. She's not coming this week, but she'll be coming in next week. So her name's Supernova. So you could say like, okay, my name is Lori, or this girl's name is now Lori. So day 1, Lori goes to school. Hey, Lori. And you could say like, who's Lori? Or, oh, you're talking to me? What do I choose? Choose 1 or 2. 1. Who's Lori? Wait, what do you mean? Oh, I get it. Haha, very funny. 1 or 2. Wait, I'm not joking. Two? Wait, I'm not joking. Oh my gosh, what is your problem? You said we were friends. Okay, what happens if I say I don't remember you, or anything else for that matter? Or, please wait, I'm serious. So, you're not joking. Do you really not remember anything? That's what I've been saying. Or, yeah, I'm not sure what happened. That's what I've been saying. Weren't you listening to me? Ah, geez, I'm sorry, Lori. I didn't realize you were for real. I'm Addison. You always called me Addie, though. Okay, it's all right, Addie. Or, ugh, I can't believe you treat anyone like that. Okay, we're going to be nice. We like Addie. And so, okay, thanks, Lori. I'm glad we're still friends. And that's the end of day 1. So you know that, so for all the stories published on Elementari, you can actually take a look at how they coded it. And you do that by clicking on this button, Remix. So if you click on this Remix button, it copies the story completely. You can actually go in and take her exact story and add your own take to it. And when you publish it, it automatically credits the original source. So that's a really good digital citizenship thing as well. So, like, let's say, for example, here, you can go in and be like, oh, I want to change the dialogue here, or I want to change the choices. Or you might say, oh, how did they code this? How did Supernova do this anyway? So you can take a look at the event graph. And I'm going to go ahead and let you take a look by first making it so it's readable and explain things to you. So one thing that I get a lot from people is they think choose your own adventures means that you need to have 1 billion endings and you need to write a lot. But the secret of game design is you want to make the reader or the player feel like they have a choice when sometimes they don't really have a choice. So in this example, we'll see that Supernova has coded this page so that both of the choices actually go to the same page. So it doesn't matter what the reader chooses in this case, but you feel like a lot of excitement when you choose, right? You're like, oh, what do I choose? Of course, your game will have to eventually have a choice that matters, because otherwise the player, it's not fun for the player. But you'll see on page start, I have 2 blocks here, and it's saying lock navigation previous page and lock navigation next page. And that basically means that I'm going to make it so that you can't go back and forth, you can't navigate, you can't go to another page without clicking or doing something that the coder wants. So the designer, the coder, wants you to click on these 2 bubbles. Otherwise, you're just stuck. So I'm going to click on this, and if I click on this, I'm going to go to page 7. And if I click on the second one, well, I'm still going to go to page 7. So that's just some ideas that you can do when you're thinking about creating your stories. So I don't know if anyone has any questions at this time. No? You're good? You're a pro? Yeah, so the other thing is I'm holding my club session starting tomorrow. One is at 11 a.m. EST and the other one is at 2 p.m. EST, I believe. Both of them can be found on the kids club section here. I think if you're really interested in learning about variables and doing more of the coding, like in-depth coding, then I would sign up for this one, the Narrative Game Design Club. I'll be starting with the beginning basics of variables again, for the people who are new. Otherwise, if you just want to have more fun with kids, then I would say go join the Storytelling Coders Club, because I have usually more kids in that club than for the older club. So it's all up to you. Yep. So I'm gonna no problem. Okay, great. So that ends this stream. I will send the link to Mary Alice, in charge of the Digital Citizenship Institute and the Digital Citizenship Summit. Oh, I can't talk at the end of the day. I'm sorry. And she'll send that out to everybody. So